Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new, welcome back if you're not. If you are a lover of all things beauty, handbags, luxury, and fashion, you've come to the right place. My name is Cece and welcome. Today we're going to get into why shopping in France is so lucrative. As some of you may know, particularly if you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, please go ahead and head on over to Instagram. We recently traveled to both Paris and Nice, France, where we spent 12 days in both Paris as well as the French Riviera, also known as Côte d'Azur or the south of France, discovering the streets, the area, shopping, of course. As some of you may or may not know, shopping in Europe, particularly in Paris, has become very, very lucrative. It always has been, really. I wanted to find out for myself exactly why. And some of you have also heard of the VAT refund process. It took me a little bit of time to kind of wrap my head around this process. So today I'm going to be taking you through why shopping is so lucrative in Europe, but in Paris in particular, what makes it so lucrative, why you should consider shopping in Europe and everything that's going on with the tariffs, and how that's going to potentially increase the amount of money that you're spending on luxury goods, particularly luxury goods that are imported from overseas, and why now more than ever it may be in your best interest to consider booking that trip to Paris to do some of your shopping overseas. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. You'll see that little bell notification button as well that you can hit so you never miss a new video with me. That said, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I have a few talking points here. We're going to start by talking about VAT. What is VAT? And it stands for value added tax. And it is around 20% on most goods. Basically, it's the tax that they charge on any items that are purchased, and it's right around 20%. As a non-European resident and being from overseas, you are exempt from having to pay that tax, right? It's the same mindset of when you work outside of state borders, you're not subject to pay the full state tax as you would as if you had lived there. So as an example, if you live in New Jersey but work in New York, when you do your taxes, you're exempt from having to pay the full tax rate of New York because you're a non-New York resident. You technically live in the state of New Jersey, therefore you are required to pay your local New Jersey state residence tax. And so you get some of that money back if you've paid into that full tax rate in the state of New York. You get some of that money back and make up for it when you pay your local tax in New Jersey. Now, as a non-EU resident, you're eligible to get that tax refunded when you export your purchases back home. So essentially, when you purchase things in France and then you bring them with you, we did this actually, we had a carry-on luggage piece. So we packed our carry-on luggage with the items we purchased locally in France, and we brought those items with us. They have to be new, tags on, dust bags, and any other items that would indicate that the items are brand new. So technically any tags or stickers or anything like that, you want to keep that on the item and bring that with you to your home country. The minimum purchase amount has to be a minimum of 100 euros. So this applies to really anything. It's not just your luxury goods if you're walking into Louis Vuitton. It also applies to local goods purchased in the pharmacy, which I know people often do. Oftentimes you hear of people traveling to Europe, particularly Paris, and stocking up on goods in the pharmacy. So as long as you meet a minimum threshold of 100 euros or more, you are eligible to receive the tax refund. When you're making your purchase and paying for it at checkout, ask for that VAT refund form, which they will provide to you so you can bring with you to the airport. It's also known as a D-tax. In the area of the airport that you're going to receive and process your VAT refund purchases and forms, you'll need to look for that area within the airport. You do have to show your passport. So when you are checking out and requesting that VAT refund form, it's important that when you're going shopping and you plan to purchase anything, that you're bringing your passport with you. So each day that we went out, if we thought we might be purchasing something, we thought we might be browsing, we brought one of our passports with us just in case, so we were prepared. There was one instance where I did not have my passport with me. It was the first time I actually shopped in Paris, and it was at Cezanne. Thankfully, my husband made sure we had copies of our passports on our phone, and they were able to use the copy of my passport. It was a very clear, blown up image of my passport, both sides page where your photo is taken as well as the opposite page. So they were able to use that. They technically need like the barcode or the passport number, so they'll need that information. So it's important that you have both pages. Some places may not want to do it with just the image or picture of your passport. I know some of the higher end luxury goods stores actually want the physical passport with you, but Cezanne was able to do it for me with the copy. So many stores are very familiar with this process. It's not foreign to them. In fact, I actually had a lot of store associates that explained the process to me, and I actually learned different things things from different sales associates. So Cezanne was the first one to instruct me that all of the tax process is now being done digitally over the Global Blue website. They now have an app that you can download onto your phone, and you can actually see and track all of the purchases you've made, the status of each of those purchases. Now, those purchases have to be validated at the airport with the VAT refund form, which you'll need. Cezanne was actually the only store that did not provide me with a physical form, but they did provide me with a digital link, which I received in my email, logging me into the Global Blue website where I was able to pull it up digitally. And you can ask your hotel to print them for you, or you can ask the store to print it for you if you'd like. I took the chance and did not have the VAT refund form for Cezanne. I did have it for all of the other stores. Byredo is one store that does not use the Global Blue platform for the tax refund process. They use a different platform. So they gave me a different form. I think it's called Planet. This is Byredo's paperwork. So Byredo provided me with a separate envelope with their form. I brought this with me to the airport, scanned it, and it was perfectly fine. The only thing is you won't see the different platform purchases show up on your Global Blue website. You just need to process it separately when you get to the airport. It's important that you keep all of the receipts and the forms together in the event that you get flagged and need to go to customs, which I did. When we were going through this process, one of my luxury items did get flagged because it was over 3,000 euros. I went to the kiosk, I processed the form, all my other forms were validated and approved. I got the big red X and was flagged to go to my nearest customs officer window, which happened to be right opposite side the kiosk. The custom officer was super, super nice. He explained to me that that's the reason it was flagged. It was because of the item amount. He asked me where the item was. My husband had it with our luggage, so he just brought it over. The purse was in its dust bag. Just wanted to see that it was physically there and something was purchased. I didn't have to take the bag out of the dust bag or anything. Okay, so as you can see, I just scanned all the forms through the kiosk, and one of the items was flagged. It happened to be my Miu Miu bag, so I had to go to the customs window, which was right across from the kiosks. The customs officer asked me where I had the item and asked to just see it, so we brought it over, but I didn't have to unpackage it or actually show him the item. He just wanted to see that we had a bag with me, so we brought over just the carry-on luggage with the bag right on top inside its dust bag. Again, he did not ask me to take the item out or see it in detail. He just wanted to confirm that the piece was with us, but he did confirm that the reason that it was flagged on the kiosk desk was because of the cost of the item. So the item came out to more than $3,000 or 3,000 euros. So obviously that kind of flagged it in the system, but all was well. It took no more than 2 minutes. He looked at my passport, my boarding ticket, confirmed where our next destination is, which is JFK Airport in New York, and just made sure that we had the item with us, and that was it. He did also confirm that we should see the refund directly in our bank or in our credit card statement within 3 to 4 weeks. So that's it. Now we're going to go through security to make our flight. We have about an hour to an hour and a half until we get there, so now we've got to hustle. For reference, I did eliminate all of my shopping bags and boxes, so all of those were discarded either at the airport or the Airbnb before our travel back home. So I did not have a requirement to keep the original boxes and shopping bags, although you may if you prefer. We just didn't have the space in our carry-on luggage, so we decided to discard it. But as long as you have all of the tags, stickers, and all of the original item in its original form and it's clearly unused, then you should be fine. In my case, I did buy 3 pairs of shoes. I am a shoe girl, as most of you know. I had to make sure that I did not wear those shoes while we were on our travels. Obviously, it would be very obvious if I had worn them, and I didn't want to take the risk if the custom officer I got did happen to want to see the item up close and in person. But for me, it was just the Miu Miu handbag and the Miu Miu sneakers. He just asked to see where the item was. He wanted to see something was purchased, and he sent me on my way. Now, there's 2 options when you're getting your tax refund, and each store you make your purchase at will ask you how you want to receive the funds. So one option is you can claim it in cash, so you actually get a less amount back. I believe that VAT refund is currently 12% at the time that I'm filming this video. You get a 12% return if you decide to get your refund back on your original form of payment. In my case, it was my Chase Sapphire card. We chose to go the credit card route for all of the items we purchased. So when you explain that to the sales associate, they will scan your credit card at the end of the VAT refund process to make sure that they know where the refund is going. You don't have anything else to do once you go to the airport other than scan and validate your forms, go through customs if needed, and then you should receive your refund in 3 to 4 weeks. That's if you go the credit card route. Now, if you choose to go the cash route, the refund is on the spot, which means after you go through your customs customs kiosk process and validate your form. You then go through security. Now, this is important because we actually ran into this hiccup at the Nice airport. On our way home, we needed to connect from the Nice airport to Paris, connect in Paris, and then fly directly from Paris to JFK. There was no direct flight from Nice, France to JFK. There's a couple of caveats here. Some sales associates and folks said that I could process everything at the Nice airport. It has to be done before security. Regardless of where you are, the kiosks where you go to validate your tax form is always before security. Now, we missed them in the Nice airport because it isn't always labeled as such and very deliberate. You have to actually go looking for them. And in the Nice airport, we actually found out that they were a level below security. We asked, where are these VAT refund kiosks where we need to go to validate our forms? Someone just said downstairs on the way to security. It happened to be underneath security. We kind of forgot about it. We went through security, and after security, it was too late. They told us we would have to go back through security again if we needed to validate them. The airport also explained that technically you have to do the VAT refund in the last airport or last destination within Europe before heading home. Take that for what it's worth. That could be wrong. I'm just going by what was explained to me. Even though we missed the validation process in Nice, it actually worked in our favor because we landed in Paris and I was able to go through the process there. Again, you do have to go looking for those kiosks before security. I will urge you, make sure it is before security. If you go looking for them after security, they will make you go back through security again. You scan the barcode on the form. There's no need to see a customs officer at that point unless you get flagged. It goes through electronically. If for some reason the kiosks are unavailable or not working, there may be an option to see the customs desk officer and have them stamp and validate things manually. If you choose the credit card route, you should see your refund in about 3 to 6 weeks. If you choose to get the cash refund, it's a little bit lower of a refund amount. You don't get the 12%, you get the 10% instead. And once you go through security, there is another section. There's actually a window that you can go to with your tax validation forms and just let them know that you're there to claim your tax refund, and they will give you the cash on hand, but it will be the 10%. Don't know if there's any exchange rate that comes into play there. I would recommend researching this and investigating it a little bit further. We did not go that route, so I am not familiar with whether or not there is going to be a transfer rate. So popular refund operators, I mentioned Global Blue as being the most popular, but the other option is Planet. That is the one that I believe Byredo uses, but all of the other vendors and stores we shopped at, which included Cezanne, Miu Miu, Veja, Celine, those all use Global Blue. Now the commission, so the reason you're not getting that full 20% back is because there is a commission that's charged by either Planet or Global Blue, hence the reason why you're getting anywhere between 10 to 12% back instead of the full 20% back. There may be some other things that come into play there as well that I'm not as familiar with, so I don't know if you are required to pay some portion of the tax, but as far as I know, you're not getting the full 20% back because they take a commission. Things that are not eligible. So food is actually not eligible. Otherwise, people would be doing this every time they went out to eat. But I do know that at the pharmacy, if you're spending more than 100 euros, you certainly can claim that tax refund because those items are non-food related. What else is not eligible? Hotel stays and services. Cosmetics may not qualify. So I think skincare could qualify. Perhaps, sunscreen, SPF, things of that nature. That's something to look into. Online orders or deliveries made after you leave France are not eligible either. So if you reach out to your SA and you ask them to place an order for you and have it shipped to you in your home country, that is also not eligible for that tax refund. There's a couple tips that you can do to make this process easier. Shop early in your trip. Don't wait until last minute. At the airport, they include the VAT refund already in the purchase price. So I know Hermes in Paris does this where you get a 10% savings. Just keep in mind, if you shop at the Hermes boutique that's outside of the airport, you're eligible for up to 12% if you choose to get the tax refund processed on your credit card, as opposed to the 10% that you would get in the airport. Now, one thing I want to advise here is that certain airports, for our case, it was Nice. We went into the Nice Hermes, and unfortunately, the Nice Hermes does not offer that 10% discount that Paris does. They offer only a 5% discount. So the sales associate in Nice was actually very forthcoming with me and explained that from a cost perspective, better served shopping at the Paris store versus the Nice store. Use a dedicated VAT refund envelope and stay organized. So in our case, we kept each of these these envelopes that were provided to us with all of the receipts together. If there were any tags, again, we left those tags on or with the item. And we kept all of these refund forms together in our safe at the hotel. And then I kept them in my Longchamp bag when we were going through the airport, along with any items that I needed to have on hand readily available. You'll want to keep these in a place where they are readily available and easily accessible for you so that when you arrive at the airport, not having to shuffle through everything. The other thing I will also advise is make sure that any of the items you purchase don't go in your checked luggage. Keep them with you in your carry-on. This makes it much easier so that if you do have to show it to a customs officer, you have it readily available. In our case, we had a designated carry-on luggage piece for all of our purchased items. So we had everything in one suitcase to make it much easier, with the exception of my Miu Miu bag, because obviously I didn't want it to get crushed. I kept it separate in its dust bag right on top of the same carry-on suitcase. Prioritize airport terminals that support Pablo, so smaller airports may not, and I don't know what the case is for Nice because again, we completely bypassed those kiosks and we did not have a chance to see them. The hardest part for us was finding out where these kiosks were in the airport, and then once we did that and we went through security, everything was fine. We've only been back home, gosh, we landed Tuesday night and I'm filming this video Friday. So we've only been back home a few days. I will keep you guys updated and let you know how that process goes, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you find it helpful. Please let me know, comment down below if you've already gone through this VAT refund process and you have any additional tips to share with this community. Please include them down below in the comments section. I love engaging with you guys. If you're planning any upcoming travels and you do plan to go through this process, link any questions or comments or things maybe you've already learned or plan to do in the comment section down below. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Till next time, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to include 2 additional videos for you guys here. And until next time, bye guys. Thank you guys for watching.